It is currently 34 degrees in my room. I am fucking cold. So, Outcome Memories has a few maps in the game. It's not a lot, but it's what we have until the 13th, hopefully. So, for now, I want to deep dive into every map, what makes them hard, the best places for Survivor, and EXE, how Survivor sided or EXE sided the map is, how hard it is to play individual survivors on, using this ranking system. Like the video if you like it, dislike it. Join the Discord server, and let's get on with the video. Let's just get this out of the way. You can't run. If you're EXE, you are not winning. Throw in the towel, put the fries in the bag. This is the only map that, if you have a perfect team, you cannot win. At least, not with 2011X. 0.2 is so fucking close, bro. It's 4 days away. And it doesn't take much skill to play Survivor on this map either. Tails has not one, but two, though this one could be called a map oversight and could be bannable, spots that he can abuse to not be charged, and including in Last Man Standing. Cream has several nasty loops on the map, ranging from simple mind games to full-on cross-map traversals with little to no effort. Eggman. Everyone knows the pain of Eggman on this map. Knuckles has more than one infinite loop spot from here with his clean glide, and with punch resistance, you can't kill him. Not only do you have all this, but the main area is the most stupid spot for EXE ever. This big open space that most people will spend the entire match in. Yeah, it's teamwork dream and an EXE nightmare. Tails will constantly have eyes on this map 24/7. Knuckles can ascend from the heavens itself to get a Fury Punch off. Really, the only true vulnerable and balanced characters on this map are the Sonics, because they really don't have the ability to get up onto ledges like these to be able to escape. Metal especially gets hoed on You Can't Run because of his inability to bring EXE through doors or up ramps, lest you do a wall slam and take half your HP. And not only all of this, to add on to the pain of You Can't Run, this is the only map with multiple exits. So EXE cannot even camp or wall off an exit. They could, because your survivors could just go to the other two. I like the design philosophy of having multiple floors on a map. I really do. But you can't have a map like this if you don't have a killer who can also effectively get onto those ledges that provide the survivors with so much safety. A killer without vertical movement really can't play well on You Can't Run. While I'm not saying that a killer shouldn't have bad or good maps, it also shouldn't be frustrating to play. 2011X is already frustrating enough and no one wants to play him on a map that counters his already very counterable kit on even his best maps. No one wants to play EXE on You Can't Run. The map hazard doesn't even really help, maybe if it exploded faster, but as of right now, You Can't Run is the most survivor-sided map, hands down. You don't even have to go to any area of the map aside from the main one because of how big and safe it is. Simply put, You Can't Run exploits 2011X's big problem, which is verticality, and that is a huge problem. Kind of ironic that the map titled You Can't Run is the easiest map to run away from in the EXE, man. Hilly Castle is a claustrophobic maze of a map that is really good for some survivors and absolute hell for others. Characters like Sonic, both Mobian and Metallic, are really nice to have on this map because of how far you can either take your team or the EXE. Amy also works really nice on this map too because EXE has less opportunity to dodge your hammer throw because of how narrow the halls are. For characters like Cream and Tails, however, it's absolute hell to play on. Anti-Tails architecture fills the map. There really is only a few good glide spots on this map, and even those, aside from one, are mediocre at best. Cream is a little better because of this loop she can do, but unless you're in Last Man Standing, this loop is also pretty mid, simply because you don't have your dodges, and your dash cooldown is too long to greet it for very long. She has the same problems as Tails too, in that she cannot really glide anywhere. EXE has an easier time on this map too, compared to You Can't Run. Anyway, he's still somewhat of a hellhole to play. On this map, survivors are more likely to spread out, and the narrow and anti-air architecture allows you to screw over a lot of characters. However, they also make you more susceptible to stuns because of the lack of dodging space. I would say this is probably 2011X's best map, because if you get caught alone, then you really don't have a lot to work with. He is still screwed over by playing with other people in the map together, but you know, that's more of a 2011X problem, not a Hilgem problem. The lack of map hazards also make it fairly safe for characters who are strong on this map, like Knuckles, Amy, or Sonic. Fun fact, actually, Hilgem is the only map that does not have a map hazard. Instead, its gimmick is that it's the only one that actively helps the survivors with overtime, with 17 extra seconds to get to the ring or a farm, whatever it is you're doing. All in all, it's a fairly more of an even matchup. Maybe not because of how fair the map is to the EXE and the survivors, but because it hard counters the supports in the game. And Eggman really isn't that bad on this map, especially compared to the hellhole that is You Can't Run. Not Perfect is just a floating box above a vast nothingness, where if you fall off, you take a significant amount of damage, 35 to be exact, unless you're metal, in which case it's 50. Very wide open, with a good, varied mix of high and low ground with a lot of springs to help with the verticality of this map. Unlike You Can't Run, all the spots on this map can be reached without the use of abilities, aside from this one tower that has a bumper on it, making it more favorable, although not necessarily by much, by EXEs. Of course, the void teleporting you to potentially the opposite side of the map can certainly be a pain in the ass, but generally players will not try to do this unless they're sweats, so normally it's fine. This really is only an issue sometimes, and can actually hurt the team in the long run because teleporting players around can hinder or ruin teamwork. Characters with slippery momentum struggle a lot on this map, think like Metal or Sonic, since it is a lot easier to fall off this map as them compared to other characters. Not only this, but bumpers as Sonic or Metal can be really tough, since it can stop all your momentum on peel out, bounce you off the map during drop dash, or cancel your destructive charge entirely. It's also extremely hard, if not possible a lot of the time, to stop from slamming the wall as Metal during destructive charge, which can make surviving on this map as him harder than usual. However, do you remember the segment in Hill Gym where I said Tails and Cream were like basically useless or dead meat on that map because of how vulnerable they are? Well, the inverse is true here. Tails and Cream are absolute menaces on Not Perfect because of how open Not Perfect is. Tails' sightlines on this map are insane. He has constant surveillance on the map at all times and can even fly under it, making him very strong on Not Perfect. Remember, having a 6-second stun on standby is a lot stronger than people give credit for, where a well-placed tail stun can mean the difference between a dead Metal and a Metal that gets a way to heal. Cream on this map, you might as well give up chasing on them entirely. She not only has 1, but 2 infinite loops, and if you force her out of them somehow, she has several ways she can get back to them because of her glide and dash. Realistically, the only way you kill a Cream on this map is if they have less than 1 brain cell, because this loop is actually the most brain dead thing in the entire game. You kind of have to use charge to get her, and even then you probably won't because you have other people there to help with. She's busted on this map. You kind of just have to not chase her until you have rage. 2011X can struggle on this map a lot because of this one out of all the maps has the most infinite loops in the game. Of course, he can sometimes nullify them with charge or other abilities, but more often than not, he's going to get run for minutes at a time. I'll put this map as survivor sided, but not as much as You Can't Run is. Green Hill is the most balanced map in my opinion. The smallest in terms of surface area, 2011X can be on you in less than 5 seconds with the right spawns. Funnily enough, this actually makes the map my favorite as well, because it is certainly the most action-packed. There's, almost constant chases. Teamwork is needed a lot, and since this map is the one with the least amount of loops in the whole game, even Hill Gym has less spots. Green Hill kinda has none, really. Every Eggman loop can be climbed up, so verticality really is not that big of an issue on this map. No true tail spots unless you count this one rock pillar by the bridge, which I don't. And both tight and open areas. Every character aside from Cream is really fun to play on this map. Not too many tail sight lines, some obstacles to disrupt Metal. Sonic can't take someone 2 miles away, and Knuckles can't infinite cling. Generally, this map is the most EXE sided, unless the whole team plays off the cliff the whole game, but 99% of the teams won't. The thing about this map is, no one is really hard countered or hard carried by it, aside from Cream. She just can't survive on this map. So it really is all about skill and teamwork, which, in my opinion, should be a way a map is designed. It's how the game is supposed to work, after all. You should need your team to survive. It's basic math. I will say, the map hazard of Green Hill is fucking stupid because it is completely RNG. You have a chance to get struck by lightning, which inflicts burn on you and downs you if you're under 15 HP, much like Grab does. And again, this is completely random. And it can stun EXE, which normally would be pretty good for survivors, but once or twice have had lightning give them rage and wipe most of the small team because of it. I have no footage of this because of how incredibly niche this is, but it can happen. Also, burn slows you, so if you have it happen while in chase, pretty much a guaranteed down or kill. So getting struck by lightning while in a close to LMS on Green Hill, which is pretty common actually, since again, this is the most balanced map in my opinion. It feels cheap to lose like that. Otherwise, it's a very well done map, if not a little too small. Good variety all around, not too many springs. It is actually pretty good for skill expression. Bravo, OM devs. I will say though, it is probably the most boring map, like in terms of, it's like the most generic, but it is still my favorite because it's Green Hill, come on. Who doesn't like a good Green Hill? And that's just basically the end of the video. I have nothing else to say here really because, I don't know man, it's like 4 in the morning, I think. I don't even know, I haven't slept in forever. If you like the video, like it. If you dislike it, dislike it. Join my Discord server once again, link will be in the description. And yeah, goodbye.